Chelsea are taking on Arsenal today at Stamford Bridge. Mikel Arteta, Enzo Maresca, the two former Pep Guardiola assistants are now battling it out, which seems to be, honestly, this is a top four challenge, not just for Chelsea, but for Arsenal as well. They've been really disappointing as of late, and the pressure is on for Arteta to get a result. But I think, like a lot of Chelsea fans, I'm feeling quite confident, guys. I don't know about you, but listen, big up to everyone that's watching on X and on YouTube as well. Like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It makes a massive difference. It shows that you are enjoying the content. And let's get into this preview, guys, because listen, Chelsea take on Arsenal at a very, very interesting time. I don't think people fully appreciate how unique this opportunity is before the international break to actually have the opportunity to play against an Arsenal side who look a little bit stripped of confidence at the moment, if I'm being brutally honest. But not to say that they don't have quality. They certainly do. But, you know, they're without Martin Odegaard. They haven't been scoring as many goals as they wanted. They're certainly not playing the type of football that they've played in recent years. So that tells me that there are plenty of opportunities for us to come out and take something against this Arsenal side. I mean, let's go back to the beginning of October. Let's sort of give you an idea of what we're up against in terms of form. Let's get straight into it, guys. If you go on the Arsenal website here, they got a 2-0 result against PSG. They beat Southampton 3-1. Happy days. Everything's good. And from this Bournemouth game here, which I watched, and I tell you what, it was not a good performance from Arsenal whatsoever. Things have just gone downhill. They lost 2-0 at the Vitality. You could argue, okay, you know, it's not necessarily an easy place to go. We almost lost there ourselves if it wasn't for the amazing display from Robert Sanchez and the winning goal from Christopher Nkunku. They managed to bounce back against Shakhtar Donetsk. Everyone's thinking, oh, happy days, we're back. But listen, Ukraine is not the same as England, people. And when you start coming up against bigger sides like Liverpool, dropping points again in that game, you know, they beat Preston, lost to Newcastle, lost to Inter Milan as well. I think that there is a real opportunity here, guys, in the Premier League to gain some ground over the worst fan base in the Premier League. There is no more despicable fan base in English football than Arsenal fans. I have never seen fans with such horrible attitudes. No respect whatsoever for any other fans than Arsenal fans. I mean, we've seen AFTV and all that. And to be honest with you, listen, I'm a little bit younger than some. And I don't know what it was like 20 years ago. I wasn't there. I can hear the stories, I can see clips, but I wasn't there. So do I really understand it? And after that 5-0 pummeling last season, I understand why Chelsea fans and so many other fan bases say, Arsenal, they can't win the league. It can't happen. Because if they do, we'll never hear the end of it. But listen, they're not winning the league anytime soon. Not the way they're playing at the moment. So yeah, let's dive into it. I mean, so that's Arsenal's record as it stands. Pretty poor in recent times for a title challenging team. But then again, you look at Man City. I mean, they've been horrendous. They lost to Brighton yesterday as well. I think that if they don't have Rodri, we're playing them in January, late January. I think it's the weekend of my birthday. And I would feel very confident that without Rodri, Chelsea can get a result away at the Etihad. But listen, enough about titles and all of this sort of stuff. Let's look at what Enzo Maresca has said about Cole Palmer. Let's go through some of the updates that he has given. On Cole Palmer's fitness, Cole is getting better, but because he can walk and have dinner doesn't mean he is completely fit. He is getting better, and we still have 2 days to prepare for the game. Hopefully, we can have him for a session, at least on Saturday. Then we can take a decision. So I think, to be honest, Enzo Maresca probably knew just about enough, as much as we did, on this particular issue. But it is worrying, obviously, if your best player is not going to be available. I really hope that he is going to be available, Cole Palmer, but you just don't know. It's very difficult to to predict these things. But as it stands, I mean, he's walking. I know my friend Shaggy saw Cole Palmer the other day at a petrol station, and he said hello to him. Palmer wasn't limping as far as I could see. But listen, it's very difficult to really know this. I also have a little bit of Chelsea news for you guys. Well, a couple of bits and bobs, actually. Relatively interesting stuff as well, if you haven't been in the loop. Chelsea are the only club in the Premier League this season who have not given a single minute to players aged 28 or older. That is crazy. Not a single minute. Do you think that that's a little bit too much, guys? Or I mean, 28 or older, that's brutal. Obviously, as time goes by, the squad will get older. But it's an interesting philosophy, isn't it? You don't even have a player who's 30 who started in the Prem. It's crazy. Absolutely. I mean, I say starts. They've not given them a single minute. Not 1 minute. Crazy stuff. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on that, guys? Let me know in the chat. I will come back to the chat later on. Listen, there is more as well. Absolute Chelsea's come out with some good stuff recently as well. Regarding Kepa, who has a £5 million release clause that is expected to become active at the end of the season. So there is a possibility that Bournemouth, if they're happy with him, they could spend that £5 million and bring him to the club full time. But I'm very doubtful that that's going to happen. As far as I can tell, with Bournemouth fans, they've been playing pretty well without Kepa, and he hasn't started a number of the games. So I don't know if it's going to be Bournemouth, but I think someone will come in for him. He's going to have to take a pay cut if he wants game time. I don't even know how long he's got left on his deal, but we signed him. I think we signed him in Sarri's first season. What was that? 2018. So not 2018, 19, 20, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 25. He's probably only got 1 year left on his deal because I think he signed a 7-year contract. So, yeah, just looking to get something from this deal if we can, even if it's $5 million, get his wages off the books as well. We probably wouldn't get such a dissimilar fee for a loan anyway. Some teams end up paying a couple of million for a loan, but I don't think that would happen for Kepa. I certainly wouldn't be splashing the cash for a keeper like that. Okay, that's Kepa. Esteval Willian, I want to make history and become the most successful Brazilian in Chelsea's history. I want to win titles and show all my potential, show everything I can do. And listen, the guy is smashing it in Brazil. As far as I'm aware, he scored more goals than Neymar when Neymar was there. And this is not just for any player, this is for a young player as well. So, yeah, big up to Esteval. I think we have some really good potential incomings over the next couple of years with Kendry Pires as well, who is going on loan to Strasbourg. I think that's already been agreed. So Kendry Pires will go to Strasbourg. Maybe Esteval Willian will come straight into the squad, but I'm not 100% sure. Chelsea's tally of 18 points is 6 more than they had after 10 Premier League matches last season under Mauricio Pochettino. What do we think about that, guys? How do we compare those? How do we compare them, guys? I think it's interesting as well when you look at these. Who did we actually play in these matches? I think that's always important to understand. So I will give you the context. If you can go on Sky Sports, you can see this as well. I'm going to share my screen. So on Sunday, the 13th of August, we played Liverpool at home. We drew. We then lost to West Ham away from home. That was a poor performance from us. That was the game when Chukwuemeka initially got injured. He was actually the player that scored for us in that match. We beat Luton 3-0. Sterling scored 2 goals, if I'm not wrong. We then beat Wimbledon in the Carabao Cup. Nottingham Forest, we lost. That was a very poor performance. We drew away at Bournemouth. We lost to Aston Villa at home, another poor performance. We beat Brighton in the Carabao Cup. That's when Cucurella made his comeback. Beat Fulham, Mudryk and Broha on the score sheet. Smashed Burnley. That's when Cole Palmer scored his first ever Chelsea goal. Drew to Arsenal when Sanchez made the mistake, and lost to Brentford, then beat Blackburn. So, yeah, there's our first couple of games under Poch. Just to give you a bit more insight into who we played, and you can make your own decisions from there. So, yeah, I mean, under Pochettino, I certainly think he had a harder squad to work with than Maresca, but not to take anything away from Maresca. I think he's done a fantastic job. And I actually think that there was a tweet I saw about this, and it was almost like we planned on getting rid of Pochettino anyway, because, and I don't necessarily agree with this, but I think it's a fair point. If you look at the way we initially signed Pochettino, very different to what we did with Graham Potter, very different to what we've done with Enzo Maresca. We gave Potter a 5-year contract, and we gave Enzo Maresca a 5-year contract with an option to extend and make it 6 years. What we did with Poch is we gave him a 2-year deal. So one of the things that I've heard, which I think is a really valid point, is that we gave Pochettino such a short contract because we knew all we needed was for Poch to do what he does best: instill a mentality, a work rate into this team, and build team chemistry, and help develop these young players who have never played at this level before. And I think Pochettino did that. And then he got sacked. And Maresca brought in for totally different reasons. We've already had that camaraderie from last season. I think the team has a bond like it never had the prior season. We finished 12th. There was certainly no chemistry there. And Maresca's now got this tactical insight that Pochettino never really had. But I do think the foundations were laid for Enzo Maresca. And listen, some managers are good for a certain level, other managers are good at another level. And I think that you can almost say that's a progression with Poch to Enzo Maresca, especially from a tactical point of view. And for that reason, I think it could have been a smart appointment. But hey, listen, we still don't know what's going to happen. Some people think we're going to finish top 4 easily. I'm not in that camp. I think that, this Palmer injury is a real eye-opener for us, that if we don't have Palmer, we're really going to struggle in a lot of games. But, we're still capable of finishing top 5, definitely. It just depends what we do. So let's go from there. Let's see. We had a few comments as well from Romeo Lavia. Not a Madueke also came out with a comment. So let's see what they had to say. Starting off with Romeo Lavia. He said, it's going to be challenging everywhere on the pitch. Arsenal are a strong team. It's a derby, so they're going to come for it. We've got to be ready, and we will be ready. Whatever the challenge is, we will prepare as much as we can. And that, I hope, is the case, my friend. Noni Madueke also comes out and says, I've been okay so far, but I can be a lot better and still have got levels to go. But I'm satisfied with our position as a team and as a collective. I would say that it's a fair comment from Madueke, although some people, you got some grumpy fans out here who go, oh, why is he satisfied? We're not top of the league. Well, come on, guys. Look at where we were when Noni Madueke first came into the side, and look at us now. I would say that Chelsea have progressively got better and better over time. And I think this is a fair point from Madueke. He can do a lot better, but he's been all right. I think he's not been bad. His defensive work rate has improved considerably. He's much more of an asset to the team defensively than he ever was before. And I don't know if that's something that Maresca has spoken to him about. I don't know if that's something he picked up under Poch and then brought into this season. I don't know. I'd love to know what he has to say about it. I think that's something I'd probably rather hear from Madueke rather than make an assumption. But yeah, he's really, really improved for me. He's certainly improved, but there's levels to go, isn't there? There's certainly a long way to go. I almost look at Madueke this season like a lot of fans looked at Jackson. He has some good games and he has some bad games. And I think that was the case with Jackson last season. But Jackson's taken that step up, and maybe Madueke just needs a little bit more time so that he can take that big step. It's not necessarily something that's a quick fix. Listen, big up to everyone that's watching in the chat. We've got 233 people watching. Can we get up to 50 likes on YouTube, guys? Can we get up to 50 likes? It helps a lot. Smash that like button. It only takes a second. It just shows that you are enjoying the content. And listen, if you're enjoying it, I'm going to keep doing it. That's how it goes. But yeah, that's Madueke's thoughts right there. We move on. And not Emmanuel. Oh, he also came in and said he did talk about Maresca. Fair enough. Maresca's brought in stability. He's done well to manage our squad, all the names and talent. So that's a credit to him, but also credit to the club because it's years of planning and we're finally starting to see the fruits of the labor. So Madueke actually coming out and publicly giving some respect to not only the ownership, but also the board of directors, Lawrence Stewart, Paul Winstanley, as well as any of the other members of the club. So Madueke thinks that it's starting to come together. I would say that is also a fair comment. We're not exactly going downhill, are we? The past 3 years, yes, we've never been as far down, but when you are down, there is only one place to go after, and that is up. So we are certainly on the up as it stands. There's a real intrigue as well from me because you've got Arsenal dropping points, you've got City dropping points, you've got all these teams in and around the top. Aston Villa obviously dropped points to Liverpool. So there is a real opportunity to gain on those teams. I'm certainly not saying we're in a title race because I think Liverpool are just running away with it as it stands. But this is a long season, and we're certainly going to be up there. We're not going to be competing for the title, but we're going to be up there. And I think that if we can keep the likes of Palmer fit and other players, then we've got a serious conversation to be had. Also, I just want to say, how the hell has Cole Palmer been called up for England? If I'm not wrong, he's been called up. Does that not seem like the most suspect call-up you've ever seen? Guy's literally half injured, and you want to call him up to England. It's the same with Jack Grealish. He's been injured. Why are you calling him up? I don't understand the mindset of these international managers. Do you want to benefit your country by injuring your best players? How does that work? Where is the logic here? So I don't understand the idea of, seeing these players perform for their clubs, get injured, and then get called up for their international sides. I don't see that's fair on the players. I don't see how that's fair on anyone, really. It's not fair on the management. How are you? Yeah, if you really cared about the well-being of a player, you would not call them up. It just wouldn't happen. That's my personal opinion on it. It wouldn't happen at all. But there you go. You can't have it all, can you? Chelsea's only win in the past 10 meetings in all competitions against Arsenal was 2-0 in the Premier League at the Emirates in August 2021. So the last win we've had in the last 10 meetings in all competitions against Arsenal was when Romelu Lukaku made his debut for Chelsea and scored, was it 1 or 2 goals? I think it was 1 goal. Reece James scored the other goal. We dominated Arsenal. We used to absolutely dunk all over Arsenal. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what is going on with that. Why are we losing to Arsenal, people? Chelsea have failed to win any of their past 5 home games against Arsenal, having drawn 2 and lost 3. Arsenal has scored the last 7 goals in this fixture. So the last 7 goals have all been scored by Arsenal. What? Well, that's bullshit. We just drew 2-2 with them. Well, that's the stupidest statistic I've ever seen, and that's why I don't watch the BBC. What a load of rubbish. Chelsea have lost just once in 9 Premier League matches since their defeat on the opening weekend. We've won 5 and we've drawn 3. Arsenal could lose 3 games in a row on the road without scoring for the first time since August 1994. Yes, people, that's what I want to see. Can we also give some praise, please, to the man, the myth, Nicolas Jackson? Since the start of the season, Nicolas Jackson has been involved in more London derby goals than any other player in the Premier League. 10 goals, 2 assists. How many of them are penalties? 0. That is my striker. Big up to Nicolas Jackson. What a guy. Listen, you had your flaws last season. I know you reached out to Astrobet. You weren't having a great time on the pitch, so you tried to have some success off the pitch. But now it's happening on the pitch. So do you know what? Do what you like. Although I would stay clear anyway. But listen, each person to their own. I'm not going to force you. That's your personal life, my friend. That's your personal life. Enzo Maresca wants 2 players for every position at Chelsea as a bare minimum. And with that now in place, he does not envisage signing more than 2 or 3 each transfer window. And that is via Guillem Balag, who is a journalist. I don't know what the hell he does, but he's a journalist who's come out with this. So that's my source there. Sky Sports Premier League have quoted Enzo Maresca as well, saying, you imagine how your team want to play. The question is, how long do we need? The nice thing is, I imagine the team playing in one way, and I can already see that. We do many, many things better, but it's a very good feeling. So Maresca is happy with how quickly his team has adapted to the style of play that he's trying to implement. He also said, in terms of process and time, it's not something you can say in 6 months, 1 year. It's complicated. At the beginning, especially, it's up and down. No doubt that working every day, it's something that you can get better and better. Well, the process is certainly improving if you look at it from a season-by-season standpoint. We finished 12th, we finished 6th. Now I would say we're on course for Champions League football, at least a direct improvement with Europa League, although Champions League is really the bare minimum. He also said when the manager, players and club believe in something, it's much more easy because we can all see one football and we can all believe in one football. It doesn't happen often, unfortunately. So he's glad to see that the players and the club are on the same page as him. Seems like we're all pulling in the same direction. He also said it's exciting. The first time I met the club, the first thing I said to them, I said, no matter if you are going to be the manager or not, for the next 5 to 10 years, because of the squad and age, you are going to dominate English football. Okay. All right. That's a pretty big statement from Enzo Maresca. Dominate English football for the next 5 to 10 years. Well, if he means with trophies, then we welcome that. We absolutely welcome that. And I hope that we can do that. That's certainly something that I'm not going to complain about. There's no complaints from me. Can I also just say, out of respect for everyone as well, we will remember them. Chelsea, it is Remembrance Sunday, so there will be something happening before kickoff today at Stamford Bridge regarding all of the fallen soldiers in the World War, and we will be paying our respects at Stamford Bridge. So if you are at Stamford Bridge, please don't speak when this is happening. Just listen for a minute. That's all it takes, and then support your team from there. But yeah, very important that we take this seriously and we remember our fallen and lost soldiers. And I will be paying my respects at Stamford Bridge as well. So big up to everyone from there. But listen, guys, what I will say is one of the themes of this live, I like the morning lives the day of the game because I think, you know what, it's fresh in everyone's mind. We know what's going to happen. And ultimately, there's not going to be a lot of changes, but there is, if that makes sense, because we rotate heavily anyway, week in and week out. So we'll have a very different side to what we had against Noah, but it will probably be similar to what we've seen in other Premier League matches. So let's start off in goal with Robert Sanchez. A lot of people don't want this man in goal. I am included in that. But listen, a good performance is a great way to shut people up. If you can have a good performance, my friend, I would love it to be today, and I would love it to be against Arsenal. Honest to God. Right, what's going on? I will have a look at the chat, guys. I will have a chat. I'm not ignoring anyone, guys. I can listen, guys. Ultimately, I've come here and I'm streaming. I don't have to stream. You know, I do it because I want to do it. But I'm happy to interact with you. But also, I do want to actually get on with what I'm trying to say. But yes, let's go through the chat quickly. All right. There's no need to cry in the chat, guys. Big up to Vincent. I hope you're doing very well. Ronnie, fingers crossed. He hopes Palmer will start. My friend, I hope very much that is the same thing. Although if João Felix starts, I think there's still a chance we can win, but I don't feel anywhere near as confident with João Felix. I would personally rather have Nkunku instead of João Felix starting in this team. But we're going to see. I hope you're doing well, Tikus. Good to see you, my friend. Sandeep says we need to play a right back in the right back position and a left back in the left back position. I could not agree more, my friend. I could not agree more. Abdul says we're looking at the league table. Chelsea must win today. No excuse. I mean, you know, it's still not an easy game, guys. I don't know if Palmer is playing, guys. I'm not sure. I know as much as you do. Chelsea 5, Mutants 0. That's a good one. I mean, I hope so. That would be great, wouldn't it? What? What are you talking about, man? Massively overrated. He was benched for England for a reason. Whenever he came off the bench, though, he was England's best player. So tell me about that. Jano says Sanchez will make a big mistake today. Bloody hell. I see what these I see what's going on, guys. This is a lot of where is the hate coming from for Chelsea? Come on, guys. Big up to Josh. I hope you're doing very well, mate. Felix should raise his levels to Cole Palmer. He looks brain dead and selfish sometimes. I don't think it's as easy as that, to be honest with you. I don't think it's as easy. If everyone could do that, then I think they would be as good as Cole Palmer. How many likes are we on you? How many likes are we on? Let's get it up to 100 likes on YouTube. I have no idea how many likes are on. Let me know, guys, in the chat. It does help a lot. Right. Let's get back to the okay, we're on 44 people. 44, thanks you. We've got 90 people on YouTube. Can we get up to 75 likes on YouTube? Can we get up to 75? Keep me posted in the chat, guys. Listen, appreciate you letting me know here as well. Thank you very much. If we can get up to 75, that would be absolutely fantastic. Okay, Robert Sanchez, going back to him. Listen, we need a big game from this guy. If Robert Sanchez doesn't perform, I will be giving you a piece of my mind on the fan cam after the game. And I'll say, Lewis, Matt, Nina, Charlie, I'm afraid you're going to have to wait this time. Because if Robert Sanchez fucks things up again, I'm done. I'm done with this guy. I'm done. I like Sanchez in terms of the fact that he's a good goalkeeper. He has decent ability to save. He's got good reactions. He's much better at saving long shots than Kepa ever was. He's a goalkeeper that can make those unbelievable saves that a lot of other people. He's a goalkeeper that can make a lot of unbelievable saves. Other goalkeepers never could. But he struggles with the simple things. And that's the frustration for me. I'm sure it's the same for a lot of you as well. I want a keeper who can do the simple things well. And if I can get that moment of magic on top, then happy days. If his distribution was half decent, I don't even think we complain about Sanchez. The problem is there's more than one thing that he's quite poor at. So yeah, I'm not really looking forward to seeing that. Who do I want to see as a left back today? I want to see the man, the myth, Cucurella. Listen, Cucurella is arguably not just the best left back in this team ahead of Reece James. And I'm certainly not disrespecting Reece James, because Reece James is the best right back. So why not play the players in their respective positions? This does seem fairly basic. It seems pretty obvious, but for some reason, it's just not happening. I don't know why it didn't happen at the beginning of the United game. We did the same thing against Newcastle, but Enzo Maresca changed things up at halftime very quickly, and I think that was for good reason. We lack balance if we do not have a left-sided player as a left back. On top of the fact that by playing Cucurella, you don't even have to think about inverting Gusto. You don't have to think about inverting Reece James. Let the people do what they like to do. Let them do what they're good at doing. Cucurella is clearly the best player inverting. Allow him to continue to do that. So, yes, I want to see Cucurella on that left-hand side. I am absolutely convinced that he can become probably the best left back in the league, if not the second best. Man City are having a lot of problems defensively. I like what I see from Gvardiol. He contributes with goals. That's probably one of the few things he has over Cucurella, on top of the fact that at times he can play as a centre-back. And Robertson is, a different type of player, but I don't think he could ever invert like Cucurella does. Different type of left back. But for what Cucurella brings to the table, really one of the best in the business. There is no doubt in my mind that he needs to start against Arsenal. And they have a lot of they have a lot of problems in their team. And he is a player who can stop that. I argue that anyone in that Arsenal team, Cucurella will have them in his pocket, whether that's Saka, Martinelli, whoever. It will most likely be Saka, presumably, unless there's an injury problem there that I'm not aware of. So, yeah, I want to see Cucurella starting against Arsenal today. I also want to see in the centre-back role a player who's had a bit of stick recently, who I still fully support. People say it's because he's English, because he's homegrown. I say it's just because he's our best centre-back at this moment in time. And you know what? Even if our best centre-back makes mistakes, he's still our best centre-back. And that is the reality of the situation. So I do think that Levi Colwill is certainly struggling at times. He has rash moments. Doesn't Fofana, though? Doesn't Tosin have lapses in concentration? I thought we were actually quite poor defensively against Noah. Even with the clean sheet, we could have easily conceded 2 or 3 goals. So, for that reason, I want to put all the support I can behind Levi Colwill and just back the guy. He's a good player. He's a Chelsea boy. We've backed him, and you know what? He deserves all the support in the world. But at the end of the day, there comes a time where your levels have to increase, and if that day is today, then I absolutely welcome it. Good to see you, Niffin. I hope you're doing well, mate. You're leaving for the bridge now. I will see you. I will see you there, my friend. What else are people saying? No rash fouls from Colwill, please. I completely agree with you, Hugh. That is fair. Yeah, we need Colwill to keep his cool. We need him to just control himself. If Colwill played for Barcelona, he would be converted as one of the best young centre-backs. He fits Barca's style. He is one of the best young centre-backs, though. That hasn't changed because he's at Chelsea. You've got to remember as well that you put the word young in there because young players generally need a little bit of room to grow. So from that perspective, I think Colwell's not immune to that. But he is by far the best centre-back we have. He's better than Fofana. He's better than Badiashile. He's better than Disasi. He's better than Tosin. He's better than all of them. So Everyone's going, oh, I don't like Fofana. He's not good enough. All right, fine. But we need to replace the other side before you replace Colwell. And we didn't spend a penny on this guy. Whereas we did spend money on Fofana, 75 million, 80 million, whatever it was. So, you know, I wouldn't be the first person to criticize Levi Colwell. I think he is doing okay. Can he do better? Absolutely. But I think he will. So I have confidence that he will bounce back this season and be a great asset for Chelsea Football Club. Now, the question is, who is going to be starting next to Fofana? And I think the answer is obvious again, especially based on what I saw against Noah. I thought Badiashile and Tosin were crap. Absolutely crap. And that, I'm not saying that in a funny way. I don't think they were very good. Just like I don't think Enzo Fernandez was that good. You know, he got 3 assists against Noah, and people are talking about him like he's this generational baller. The amount of times he gave the ball away in silly positions and even sloppy passes at times, it's no surprise to me that he got hooked at halftime. Now, maybe it was because he got so many assists, but I think that sometimes, even if you see a 0 in front of the opposition scoreline, that doesn't mean you defended well. So yes, I think that Fofana will be. I think he will be starting in this game. I actually thought he was good against United, except for that one mistake. He made one silly mistake in terms of his positioning, and apart from that, he was fine. He was genuinely. I thought he defended quite well. I thought he was aggressive. But yeah, Fofana needs to do better. The problem is, guys, it's too many small mistakes that make a big difference, and they're adding up. Because if you make one mistake every couple of games, I don't know, let's just say one mistake every 10 games, you play 50. All right, that's 5. In a season, I think you can live with that. But what if it's 2 and it's 10 mistakes? That's 10 goals. What if it's more? And this is where it gets concerning, because ultimately we can't have defenders making mistakes all the time. But we also have to accept the fact that we are playing a riskier style of football, which we are going to make mistakes from. And that's just part of the fact that, you know, we're playing a riskier style of play. So as far as I'm concerned with Fofana, I think that he's certainly good enough at this level when he's at his best. I just haven't seen him at his best yet. And I've said this from the beginning. I originally said Tosin should start ahead of Fofana. I now sit back and I say, you know what, I was wrong. You know, and that's fine. It's okay to be wrong. Just recognize that you are wrong, and say that's fine. But that doesn't mean that what I'm seeing with Fofana is good enough. Like, I look at Colwell and I see better week in, week out than I do Fofana. That's just my opinion. I think Colwell's a better passer of the ball. I think he's a natural leader. I think he possesses loyalty to Chelsea, which is a massive thing. Nobody talks about it. Fofana's literally said that he was thinking about going to Marseille. I don't appreciate that. I think that for a player who was signed for such a big amount, what he did to Leicester, the way he left Leicester, we know he can do exactly that to us if he wants to. So for that reason, I'm just not a big fan of Fofana. I'm not a big fan of him. But listen, I want the guy to do well. He's in a Chelsea shirt, but he hasn't done that well. He's been pretty average, if we're being totally honest. So this is his chance to redeem himself, to bounce back and make something happen. Who's going to be playing as a right back? We think it is all obvious. Malagusta had a poor game against United. Yes, he wasn't playing the normal right back role. He was further up the pitch, but I think we all know when this man's further up the pitch, he can cause a lot of problems. But I don't think that will be the case. I think we'll see him sit a little bit deeper, still whipping in crosses at times. I think that's where we really benefit from having Reece James in this team. But Cucurella inverted makes life a little bit easier for James, because he doesn't have to do as much up the top of the pitch. But listen, if he's been asked to go up, we know the man can score a goal. We know he can whip in great crosses and cause plenty of problems for opposition defences. We saw that when he came on against Nottingham Forest. You know, how much of an impact one player can have. It is a supreme difference compared to any other player that we have in a Chelsea shirt at the moment. I don't think that people appreciate how good Reece James is when he's fit. I think part of that reason is because he never is fit. But he has been fit recently, and I hope that we can keep this man in a Chelsea shirt just available That's the reality. I hope that we can keep him available, but we'll see what happens. Real Gems wants Bastoni from Inter Milan. I've heard very good things about Bastoni. I'm not opposed to that. The question that I would ask you then is, if you are getting Bastoni from Inter Milan, how much are you paying him for? Like, how much are you paying? What's his wage? What's the transfer fee? Is it sustainable? So I think that's a fair argument. So I'd love to know what you think about that. I don't know what you mean, Henry. One man you've... Oh, you talk about you talk about Arsenal. Fair enough. See you later, Charlie. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Always a pleasure. 70 mil, Kian says. That's a fair price, I think. And you got a proven centre back as well, which Fofana never really was, if you're asking me. He was practically injured when we signed him. So I don't think 70 million is a bad price in world football. Who would you take as a world-class goalkeeper next summer? Honestly, I'd like to see Jorgensen or Petrovic. We've also got Mike Penders, who we just signed. And we've also got, what's his name? Oh, the American guy. We've got an American guy at Barnsley who's playing quite well. Can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. I actually don't know his name. Yeah, someone let me know in the chat. Who's the American goalkeeper we have that plays for Barnsley? God, we don't need to spend more money on a goalkeeper. We spent enough money on that position. We need to upgrade other areas of the pitch. Just be smart and don't pick fucking Sanchez, and then you'll be fine. I think that's a fair assessment based on what we've seen this season. Right, who's playing in the midfield? Welcome to the easiest question of all time. I think we can all agree it's going to be this man right here. There was an article that came out from The Athletic about Moises Caicedo, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was talking about how a lot of people at Chelsea actually believe that if you were going to substitute a player, you would substitute Cole Palmer ahead of Moises Caicedo. That's how highly he's rated at Chelsea. And a lot of people call me an idiot for comparing him to Kante, but people inside Chelsea are saying the same thing. The same thing. So I wouldn't say that it was such a bad call, what I said, but I can appreciate it's a little bit of a shock for some people. You probably don't expect that name to be thrown around lightly, but it's not. First of all, we paid 100 million pounds for the guy. And also he's actually living up to that price tag. So I don't think it's an unfair assessment. The different players, I think we can agree Kante's definitely better defensively than Caicedo. But Caicedo's all-round ability, I think that you can compete with Kante on that one. I don't think Kante was as good at passing the ball. I don't think he had the same shot on him. I don't think he was, as good a passer of the ball. So I think it's certainly an interesting debate. There's aspects to both of them, isn't there? Yeah, Charlie agrees with me. Says Caicedo's harder to replace than Palmer. He would be a bigger miss. Mike Penders, look him up, man. We just signed him. Don't cover as much ground. Caicedo is more press resistance. Yeah, we'll see. Big up to you, Daniel. I hope you're doing well, mate. I agree with you, Daniel. I hope. We will see what happens, man. We will see. Do I even need to say any more? Guy's a baller, generational, world-class talent. Unbelievable player, man. Just unbelievable. I'm trying to find the article as well, so I can just show you one or two quotes. I don't think it's up there, guys. Where the hell is the bloody... Right, for whatever reason. I can't find it, but I wanted to show you. But yeah, I think you could argue Caicedo's been a better signing for Chelsea than Declan Rice would have ever been. He's got no ego. He helps the team. And, when you look at him playing with Enzo Fernandez, he looks like a totally different player to when he plays with this man here, Romeo Lavia. I think Romeo Lavia, what he brings to this team is he allows the players around him to do what they want. And Caicedo is actually a little bit better further up the pitch than people realise. And I said this before with Enzo Fernandez, actually. I would have liked to have seen Caicedo with an Enzo pivot just to see if there's any stability in there, because I do think that that's an option I'd prefer rather than having Caicedo deeper and Enzo further up the pitch. But we're not going to see that. We're going to see Lavia and we're going to see Caicedo next to them, probably the best pivot in the league. Let's not even joke. You can talk about midfield all you want. Who is going to take the ball off of these guys? And if they do take the ball, who's going to win back the ball quicker than these guys? They have so much quality. And that's not a word that we take lightly. We knew that Lavia was a big miss last season. I don't think we realised how much of a miss he was, but he's an absolutely phenomenal player. He's a sensational player. And this guy is going to dominate the league for years and years to come if he's given consistent game time by Chelsea, which he will, and if he can stay fit. So long live the partnership, the midfield partnership of Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. Okay, we're going over to the right-hand side, guys. I want to see this man on the right. He started on the left against Manchester United, but then he came over to the right and he made a big difference. I personally don't mind seeing Neto on the right-hand side. I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't bother me. I've actually been told by Wolves fans he's just as good on either side. You know, and that was probably one of the reasons that I felt that way. But I do think against United, he made a big difference. And I think also, if you look at that left-hand side for Arsenal, I don't know if it's Calafiori or Zinchenko is going to start. Presumably, it's Calafiori. I think that Neto can cause that man some serious issues. And I don't think that I'd feel the same way if it was Madueke. I just don't know why. I think that Madueke, there's games where he's really up for it. And there's games where he lacks the pace a little bit sometimes, especially up top. Maybe it's the fact that he's been asked to do this extra defensive work. It makes life harder for him. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to pretend to know. But I just think that Neto is very well suited to this match. We need legs against Arsenal. Arsenal have legs. They're going to be sitting deeper. We need to be aggressive. We need to prevent counter-attacks, and we need wingers with energy. And having a right-hand side of Neto, I think he helps out Reece James. He makes the runs for James to then pick him out. I think that you have a little bit more chemistry there between the two of them as opposed to Madueke and James. Although, listen, this could be totally wrong. We might see Madueke perform. But I would like to see Pedro Neto starting in this match. I think that would be a great idea. Now, I want to see Palmer start. Let me just say this. I want to see Palmer starting. If he's not available, though, we're going to go based on whether Palmer's available or not. We're also going to say if Palmer's available, we win this game. That's another thing we're going to say. So if Cole Palmer's available, Chelsea beat Arsenal. If he's not available, do you take João Felix in the 10 or Nkunku? Which one of those players do you side with? Where do you think we benefit the most? Do you think we benefit from the consistency of Nkunku, or the fact that you never know what's going to happen with João Felix? Because I can pretty much predict what Nkunku's going to do, but I never know what to expect from Felix. Pretty mixed, but a lot of people are saying Felix in the chat. Do you think Nkunku is going to come off the bench as a 9 instead of Jackson? Interesting. Very interesting. I personally would pick Nkunku, but Felix in the big games. I mean, it is Arsenal as well. We made that chant for Arsenal. That will get Matthew Harding pumping. We will be pumping people. That'll be good fun, wouldn't it? So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Not 100% sure. Listen, as far as I'm aware, both of the players can make a difference. I think Nkunku's got more quality, though. That's who I'd side with personally. We've got 490 people watching. Big up to everyone. I hope you're all doing very well, guys. Only a couple of hours away from the game, 4 hours. I'm going to be getting the train into London straight after I've done this stream. Can we get 100 likes on YouTube, guys? Smash the like button. We've got 140 of you on here. Smash the like button. It makes a massive difference. It shows that you are enjoying the content. I will also, before I move on to the next player, just give a quick shout out to Omeli. If you don't know who Omeli are, guys, there's a QR code. There's also a link in the description. You can download Omeli. It's totally free. You don't have to pay for it. I repeat, you don't have to pay for it. It's an app built for football fans so they can talk with other football fans. A bit like Twitter, but it's just for football. So, yeah, check it out, guys. I'm going to be doing a review with Charlie or Nina or Kev or maybe Lewis tomorrow on the Arsenal game. And I look forward to speaking with some of you on Omeli there as well. But, yeah, listen. We're on 66 likes, Daniel says. Pump them up, people. Let's get it going. Let's get 100 likes on YouTube. Come on, people. The Chelsea Fan TV community is a big one. Let's show some love. I appreciate it anyway, everyone that's watching, taking the time out to watch. But yeah, let's get up to 100 likes, guys. That means there's still 40 of you that won't do it, but that's fine. That's okay. Right, on to the next player. So, we've said that we could take Nkunku, we could take João Felix. I think if I had to choose, I'd probably go with Nkunku. And then I'm going to surprise a few people, and I'm going to say that I want this man to start on the left. I'm going to surprise a few of you. I want Mudryk to start. This is presuming Jadon Sancho is not available, because as far as I'm aware, he's ill. So maybe Sancho comes off the bench. I have no problem with Mudryk starting in this game. I think that he can cause some real problems for Arsenal. I also think it's important for any player to have a run of games. Can we not agree that Mudryk has improved this season? Can we not agree on that? But you see, this is a valid point. You think that Neto and Noni will start. I argue that if you use the same logic for all the players, and if you're a fair manager, Noni deserves to be dropped. Yeah, not because he hasn't defended well, because he hasn't attacked well. So I think that, you know, this is a fair. I think this is a fair ask, but listen, we'll see. We'll see what Maresca does. Mudryk has scored against Arsenal last season as well. It may have been an accident, but he still did it. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'd like to see Mudryk up top on the left-hand side. And then up in the number 9, there is no doubt in my mind that this man will be starting for us. And I think he deserves to start week in, week out at this point. I think that he's actually proven that, you know, even though Nkunku's a great player, he's actually more suited to Chelsea in terms of the way we want to play. So Nicholas Jackson deserves all the credit in the world for how he's leveled up this season. I think at the end of last season, him and Cucurella, maybe even Caicedo, you could put in that bracket, were the most improved players last season under Poch. His hold-up play is on a different level to where it was when he first signed. His movement is exceptional. He's getting better at dealing with the offside line, and his finishing is better. He's doing it quicker. He's taking one touch and finishing. He's doing it with the outside of his leg. He's finding the goal. That's all you can ever ask of a striker. Find the goal, score the goal, and he's certainly doing that. So, yeah, I don't think that anyone can really argue against Nicholas Jackson scoring in this game. Yeah, I want to see this guy playing for Chelsea for many years to come, and he makes the Drogba comparisons. He's certainly not anything like what Drogba was, but in modern day football, he's a problem. He's certainly a problem, and he's going to cause Arsenal plenty of headaches with his movement, with his ability to hold the ball up and get in behind it, and just the variety of play that he has as a striker. I think the one thing that we can agree Nicholas Jackson can improve on is his aerial ability. I don't think he has a great head of the ball. But not to mention that, I mean, listen, if you can score with your feet 20 times, I haven't got a problem with you scoring 20 goals a season, so I'm not going to complain. And yeah, that is my predicted lineup, guys. That's my prediction for this one. So I'll reiterate: we've got Sanchez in goal, Cucurella on the left, Levi Colwell, Wesley Fofana in the middle, Reece James on the right, with a pairing in midfield of Lavia and Caicedo, Mudryk on the left, Palmer as the 10 if he's available. If he's not available, then I would rather see Nkunku rather than Felix. I think that we'd see more of a clinical side with Nkunku, and we need to be clinical in these games. But if Felix starts, I'm not going to complain a lot, but I do think it's harsh on Nkunku. I want to see Neto on the right-hand side. I think he caused plenty of problems against Manchester United, and I want to see Nicholas Jackson up top, scoring goals as he always does, creating problems. So yeah, listen, guys, I'll just round out, and then we'll finish up there. We've got 142 of you guys. Smash the like button before I go as well. If you've got a question, I'll answer it briefly. And then I'm going to London. You'd be happy to sell Nkunku in the summer and upgrade, getting a top world-class striker. I'll be honest, man. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that depth is important, and I think Nkunku is great depth. So I wouldn't agree with that one. And I also think Nkunku is up there with a lot of the elite strikers or players up there in the 10. So I think he's one of the best out there. I wouldn't speak too soon about getting rid of Mudryk. Sharon hopes that Sanchez doesn't pass to them and they score. Daniel doesn't want Havertz to score. Henry says he needs to be booed. Neto on the right for David as well. Score prediction. I'm going to say 2-1 Chelsea, guys. 2-1 Chelsea. Henry agrees with me as well. I'm saying 2-1 Chelsea. I think that's a realistic scoreline. Arsenal haven't been playing that well, and we can cause them a lot of problems. Yeah, I think that can happen. Goalkeeper would bang for us. Fair. A little bit more crazy. How about Jackson on the left and Nkunku false 9, Neto right? No, we're not going to see that. Why would you change a formula that works with Nicholas Jackson? If he plays well as a striker, keep playing him as a striker. If there's a player that you'd move out wide, it would be Palmer, because he's proved that he can do it consistently. So you put Palmer on the right and then Nkunku as a 10. But we won't see that because of defensive balance, which is what Enzo Maresca said. We don't have enough stability defensively. Who scores for Chelsea? Well, I think if Palmer plays, Palmer scores. I think if Felix plays, Felix scores. And I also think that I think Jackson scores. So if Jackson's going to score, and then Palmer, if he plays, will score, and Felix will score if he plays. So that's my prediction. Yeah, well, listen, guys, big up to everyone that's watching. I hope you're all doing very well. Excited for this game. Smash the like button before you go. It does help. I will be doing the match day vlog today, as well as the fan cams. As always, I'm looking forward to it, guys. It's going to be an absolutely sensational match day. But listen, big up to everyone that's been watching. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we will catch up very, very soon. All the best, and up the Chelsea.